Now that you understand the basics of wholesaling, I want to talk to you about 5 things you should consider when picking your market area or the area that you're going to do all your wholesale marketing in, okay? The first one of these things is, how far is the commute? Now, if you live in a big area like Dallas or St. Louis or Tampa, Florida, or somewhere where it's a big metropolitan area, you need to consider the drive time between your house and the area that you're marketing to. Because if it's, an hour, it takes you an hour to get to where, your area is. That's a long distance. And what's going to happen inevitably is you're going to get in your car and you're going to go over there, going to start driving for dollars or putting up bandit signs, and somebody's going to call you and say, hey, can you pick up the kids from school? Hey, can you help me with a flat tire? I need a ride to the airport, or whatever. Because when you're self-employed, people just think that your time is, their time, and you can, do all the running around while they do, what they do. So pick an area that's close to your house geographically, so you can get there quick, you can get more done. If somebody calls you, to come look at a property, if somebody, you need to go meet a contract or whatever, if you're close, it's going to make it easier, so keep that in mind when picking your area. Also, a side note, when you pick an area to work in, no matter what the distance, let people know that you're working and that, you can't just run and do whatever they need you to do when it's you're out there in the field trying to get things done. But that's another topic. So commute is important. Pick an area that's close to you if you can. The second thing is effective marketing. All right. If you pick the whole Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's going to be hard to market to all of it. A lot of us don't have that much money to mail out, 30,000 pieces of mail every month to get to everybody. So if you pick a smaller area, you can market to it more effectively. Now, there's all kinds of stats that say you need to touch people 5 times before they do business with you, or 7 times, whatever the number. If you pick a small city or a couple cities close to each other where the investors are buying, you can send more mail, you can drive for dollars more thoroughly, you can put up more bandit signs in that geographical area, and people will get to know you better. If you put a note on their door from driving from dollars and then mail to them 3 times, they're going to go, well, this person's serious, maybe I'll give them a call. So pick a smaller geographical area and market more in that area and get more deals. Now, when you start doing deals, as you're doing them and as your marketing budget grows, then spread out and do a bigger area. But to start with, pick a small city, pick 2 cities, and just start from there. Okay. The third thing is comfort level. What is your comfort level when you're going to go see a seller, or a property owner? You might not want to wholesale in areas that have big mansions in them, all right? You're just, if you've never been in a mansion and that's a hard sell, right? That's beyond most people's comfort level. It's probably beyond my comfort level. I don't want to deal with $1 million houses, okay? Now, on the flip side, you might not want to deal with houses in the inner city, or some people say war zones, okay? If you go into an area and half the houses are burnt out, you're not going to, a lot of investors aren't going to want to deal with those houses. So when picking your market, try to pick an area where it's, a working class neighborhood, middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class, but a middle class area, because you're going to have more investors there, all right, that want to buy rental properties or buy properties and fix them and flip them. You're going to just have a better comfort level there and come across more deals, okay? So try not to pick an area that's got mega mansions, and try not to pick, areas that have, 10 of the, 40 houses on the block are burnt out, okay? Try to find that sweet spot in the middle where investors are buying, all right? Now, that leads us into our fourth point is, wholesale, or pick a market where the fish are biting, all right? Where are the investors at? You don't want to market other places. I mean, why would you do that? Eventually we're going to talk about going out and meeting investors and finding out what they're buying and all that. But I'll tell you from experience that they're buying middle class homes, lower middle class, upper middle class, whatever. That's your sweet spot. All right. So when you break out the map and you're picking areas, or when you hop in your car and you go drive around looking for your target market, pick a middle class neighborhood where all the investors are buying. Now, lastly, people reach out to me and say, you know what, I live in the middle of nowhere. I live, in the farm country, or, northern Michigan, or wherever it's at. There's not a lot of wholesaling going on here. Well, that doesn't mean that you're out of the game. It just means you have to approach it differently. All right. And for people that live in a rural area like that, out in the farm country, you need to look at maybe virtual wholesaling. So if there's a market that you're familiar with, you've got some family that live in the city, or you used to live in a bigger metropolitan area, or even if you vacation in one, every year you go down to Miami or whatever, and you've got a feel for the neighborhood, maybe you should pick that as your area and do this all virtually. And I've got a page on the website that talks about virtual wholesaling. But you can market and you can team up and do JV deals with somebody in a metropolitan area like that. So if there's not a big investor group or a big investor pool in your area buying properties, fixing them up, renting them, and all those things, maybe you need to look at a virtual area and just wholesale somewhere else. So those are the 5 things I want you to think about. They're all listed on this page on my website. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put a link below. But think about those 5 things when picking your area, and I think it'll help you be more successful as a wholesaler.